Have you ever imagined disappearing the world completely? Not running away, not hiding behind a wall, but vanishing so deeply that even the sky can no longer find you. Beneath the silent valleys of Cappadocia, below stone houses and ordinary footsteps, there is a city carved into darkness. It descends nearly 85 meters into the earth. It holds tunnels, wells, stables, storage rooms, churches, and massive stone doors designed to seal entire passages from the inside. And according to some estimates, thousands of people may once have survived here with their animals, their food, their water, and their fear. This is Derinkuyu, not a cave, not a natural shelter, a hidden underground world, planned, carved, defended, and then almost forgotten. But the question is not only how they built it. The real question is why. What kind of fear makes human beings leave the sun behind? What kind of danger makes the surface of the earth feel unsafe? Tonight, we are going underground. Step by step, the light will fade. The air will grow colder. The walls will tighten around us. And somewhere in the dark, Derinkuyu will begin to answer. The modern story of Derinkuyu begins not with an archaeologist, but with a house. In 1963, a local resident in Cappadocia was renovating his home. It should have been an ordinary repair, a wall, a tool, a few broken stones. But when that wall gave way, it opened into something that should not have been there. A dark passage, a hidden room, then another. What first looked like a forgotten cavity slowly revealed itself as the entrance to a buried city. Imagine standing there for the first time. No map, no lights, only cold air rising from somewhere deep below. And the feeling that you are not entering a ruin, you are entering a place that was deliberately erased. Derinkuyu was not built for beauty, it was built for survival. The soft volcanic rock of Cappadocia made the impossible possible. It could be cut by human hands, shaped into rooms, widened into corridors, and deepened beneath the ground. But soft rock is dangerous. Carve too carelessly and the ceiling collapses. Dig too greedily and the walls betray you. Yet, Derinkuyu survived. Its air shafts, wells, narrow passages, and defensive stones all point to the same thing, a plan. A plan made by people who believed they might need to live below the earth for days, weeks, perhaps longer. At first, the answer seems simple. Cappadocia was not always peaceful. For centuries, this region stood at the crossroads of empires, armies, religions, and raids. When danger came, underground cities could protect families from soldiers, invaders, and persecution. That explanation is serious. It's grounded in history, and it may be true. But when you step deeper into Derinkuyu, the simple answer begins to feel incomplete, because this was not just a cellar beneath a village. This was a system. Spaces for animals, spaces for food, spaces for worship, places to cook, store, gather, and wait. It was not only designed to hide people, it was designed to keep life going when life above became impossible. And that is what makes Derinkuyu so unsettling. A shelter says danger is coming. A city beneath the earth says danger may last. Think of the moment when the stone door was rolled shut. The outside world disappears. The sunlight is gone. The horizon is gone. Only stone, only breath, only waiting. And somewhere above, danger moves across the surface. The greatest miracle of Derinkuyu is not that people went underground. It is that they could remain there. Deep beneath the earth, darkness is not the only enemy. Air becomes a question. Water becomes a question. Smoke becomes a question. Panic becomes a question. A hidden city is useless if the people inside cannot breathe. Derinkuyu answered that question with engineering. Ventilation shafts carried air through the levels. Wells reached water beneath the ground. Rooms were arranged for storage, shelter, worship, and movement. Corridors narrowed where an enemy had to slow down. Every detail mattered. A passage could not be too wide. A chamber could not be too weak. A shaft had to bring air without exposing the people below. This is where Derinkuyu becomes more than a mystery. It becomes a lesson in ancient intelligence. Not magic, not fantasy, not a lost civilization from the stars. Human hands, human fear, human calculation. The people who expanded Derinkuyu understood rock, pressure, darkness, and silence. They knew where to carve and where to stop. Survival was not only courage, it was design. Derinkuyu does not feel primitive, it feels deliberate. Then come the doors. In the narrow tunnels of Derinkuyu, a massive circular stones still wait in the walls like sleeping wheels. They are not decorative, they are not symbolic, they are not warnings. When rolled into place, these stones could block a passage from the inside. A small opening allowed those behind the doors to see, breathe, and if necessary, defend. One door could stop a corridor. One corridor could slow an army. One sealed level could protect everyone below it. But these doors also tell us something darker. They tell us the people inside expected the danger to come close, not far away, not as a rumor, not as a story from another valley, close enough to hear footsteps, close enough to hear metal against stone, close enough that a family might stand in silence on one side of the door while death search on the other. This is why Derinkuyu does not feel like an ordinary refuge. It feels like a place built by people who had already imagined worst. And maybe that is the real secret of the city. Not impossible technology, not a forgotten myth proven in stone, but a fear so old and so human that we still understand it instantly. The fear of being found. So, who built Derinkuyu? The honest answer is complicated. Some researchers believe the earliest chambers may go back to older communities in Cappadocia. Others connect its major expansion to the Byzantine period, when Christian populations used underground spaces as refuge. Derinkuyu may not belong to one people, one century, or one single event. It may be the work of generations. A room carved by one community, a tunnel extended by another, a chapel added later, a door strengthened after a new danger arrived. This is how fear becomes architecture. Layer by layer, memory by memory, thread by thread. And this is where history begins to touch myth. Across ancient cultures, disaster stories often speak of hidden places where life is protected until the world above becomes safe again. In the Avesta, the sacred texts of Zoroastrian tradition, Yima is warned of devastating winter and told to create a protected enclosure, a vara, to preserve life. Derinkuyu is not proof of that story, but standing inside it, you understand why such stories exist. Humans have always feared the moment when the world above changes too fast to survive. Maybe the oldest myths are emotional fossils. Prepare, hide, preserve what matters, wait for the world to return. Derinkuyu sits between history and myth, between what we can prove and what we can still feel. Today, visitors can walk through part of Derinkuyu. They descend through narrow passages. They pass storage rooms, ventilation shafts, living spaces, and the chapels. They feel the air change. They feel the outside world become distant. But Derinkuyu never feels fully conquered. Its power comes from the question it leaves behind. What were they hiding from? When you finally climb back toward the surface, the light feels almost unreal. The first breath of open air is different. The sky seems larger. The ordinary world feels fragile. And that is when Derinkuyu follows you. There was a time when people looked at the world above and decided that darkness was safer. They carried their food below. They brought their animals below. They prayed below. They waited below. Maybe it was war, maybe persecution, maybe a memory of disaster that history never wrote down. Maybe all of them layered together until fear became stone. But whatever the answer is, Derinkuyu remains. A city beneath the world, a machine for survival, a monument to human fear and human endurance. Time can bury a name. History can forget the hands that carved it. But stone remembers pressure. Tunnels remember footsteps. And darkness remembers why it was chosen. Tonight, Derinkuyu is not asking us to believe in impossible things. It is asking a far more disturbing question. If the world above became dangerous enough, how deep would we go? This is Archevora, uncovering the lost, preserving the forgotten.